Hey, hey, hey. All right. I hope everybody had a good day. Hope you had a good day. Got a lot done today. Pray you have a sense of accomplishment. All right. Hey, 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 hey. Excited to have you guys on here tonight. We are going to have a great conversation about real estate. Yes, about real estate. Real estate, probably one of the smartest moves that you can make. It's not necessarily easy, but it's very, very doable. And it can be very, very profitable if you get in there and just kind of make a decision that this is going to work. So I want to know who I'm talking to tonight. So if you would put in the comments your name and then what city you are logging in tonight from. Tell me your name and what city are you logging in tonight from. I want to see who is on here tonight. So I'm excited about tonight because we are going to definitely set you up to make sure that you are set up for the second half of 2026. I'm like, wow, we're already at the halfway point. Like legit, we are in the month of July, the 7th month, and about to go into the 8th month, August 8th, meaning new beginnings. And so this is definitely a really great time to strategically make some decisions about your future, what you want to accomplish, where you want to be, who you want to become. And yeah, so I'm really excited about the conversation we're going to have tonight. And then for those of you that are really interested, we're going to do a more intimate session right after this session tonight. We'll jump on a Zoom for those of you that are interested. So let me go ahead and jump in here. So tonight, basically, I'm going to be going over what are some of the main things that I think that as an investor, whether you're a beginner investor, what's up, TC? What's up, brother? That's my brother. That's my AI genius brother right there, out of Atlanta. But yeah, we're going to be talking about basically like how to build a multifamily portfolio. And I think that real estate from the beginning of time has produced millionaires and it has produced wealth. And I think it is the one asset class that I highly recommend that everybody play in. Like ultimately, I want you playing in the stock market, especially now with ETFs. I'm really excited about those. And of course, there's still crypto. Then there's gold and silver, right? But real estate is definitely one of those things that you want to make sure that you make a decision that, you know what, I'm going to become an investor. I'm going to become a homeowner. As a matter of fact, if you're not already a homeowner, one of the first things that I suggest is to maybe don't buy a single family, get a duplex, right? Where you live in one and then you rent out the other one. And this doesn't have to be a long-term goal, but this is a great way to get yourself into real estate and also reduce your costs as a homeowner, because now you're doing what they call pretty much house hacking, where you bought the duplex or you bought the 3-unit or you bought the 4-unit. You're living in one unit and then you're renting out the other spaces, and those other spaces put you in a position to pay for your mortgage and then also put you in profit. If you don't already own a home, you're renting, your next move, I would honest to God recommend house hack. Even if you just do it for a year and then you might want to move on to the next property, but I would definitely say go ahead and grab a unit. Get yourself a duplex, a 3-unit or a 4-unit, you move in one, and now all of your bills are paid for. Because really, honestly, that's one thing that if I had to do over TC, I would do again. I would make sure that my first purchase was a condo, but if I had to do it over again, I would have my first purchase be a multifamily, and then I would move in one and then rent out the others, because then you get to a point where you never pay a mortgage, right? And you continue to do that. And then eventually, let's just say you're like, hey, my goal is to live in a mansion. Well, what you could do is to start off, you can say, I'm going to buy a 4-unit. I'm going to move into 1 unit. I'm going to rent out the other 3 units. And then after, let's just say, a year or 2, now you have price appreciation happening. So that means you have equity. You could take cash out of that property and use that property for your down payment and closing costs. That unit that you moved out of that 4-unit, you now can put a tenant in that. So now you have 4 times, let's just say you have a 4-unit and you're paying each, tenant is paying $1,500. Now you have 4 times $1,500. That's $6,000 coming in every single month. And let's just say the mortgage on that 4-family, that 4-unit is $1,800. So now you're paying $1,800, which is leaving you with $4,200. That $4,200 can actually be used to pay for your mansion, to pay for your dream house, right? Or even if you don't want to use all of it, you can use it to pay a portion of it. And so the thing that I want you to realize about real estate is that, honest to God, you literally can create your entire dream life just with real estate alone. Now, I honestly, like I said, I would want you to invest in stocks. I would want you to invest in crypto and gold and silver. Those are things that I invest every week. Every single week on Monday, I have another community called Millionaires Club, and we're investing in the stock market every single Monday, right? I get on, I do a stock analysis, we look at the markets, and then we basically say, okay, this is where we're going to invest. I am not a big proponent of diversification. Diversification is when you're, a lot of times you got a bunch of different things, but I feel like the way to really build wealth is to focus. You want to focus in those asset classes. And so we focus with the same ETF, same stocks, usually within, every single week. And we're just building volume so that when we get ready to sell it, it's going to be great. Now with real estate, what you want to do is you pretty much want to do the same thing. You want to say, hey, let's just say somebody put in the comments right now for me, how much money would you like coming in every single month that you don't have to work for? How much money would you want coming in every single month that you don't have to work for, right? So put that in the comments. How much money do you want coming in every single month that you don't have to work for? Because the beautiful thing that I love about real estate is that once the property gets stabilized, and when I say property gets stabilized, that means that, let's just say you buy the property. Let's just say we're going to stick with this 4-family, okay? Let's say you buy a 4-unit for $300,000. Okay, you buy a 4-unit for $300,000, and your monthly payment on that, let's just say, is $1,800 a month, right? You got this 4-family. You bought the 4-family, and let's just say your goal, I don't know, you guys put your goal in there. How much money do you want coming in every month? How much money do you want coming in every month? I need to see those numbers because we're going to help to do some deal evaluations and help you to connect the dots. Okay, so Deborah said she like $15,000 coming in a month. Okay, that's a good number. So let's just say you did your first 4-family and that 4-unit cost you $300,000. Your monthly on it is $1,800, but it's bringing in $6,000 a month. Okay, it's bringing in $6,000 a month, because the key when you buy multifamilies is you want to make sure that your price point is good so that your equity is strong, right? And this is why I choose the city of Detroit to invest in, because it's not just about getting a property that is, a good price. You want to make sure that there's actual equity. When you buy that property, Trina, you want to make sure that there's actually equity in that property. Right now, this is what I want you to know about real estate, Trina, is that it is a long game. It's a long game, Deborah. It is not something you get in and say, oh, I'm about to make a bunch of money fast, right? You can trade for that. Now, you can make some fast money in trading. I'll tell you right now, you can really make some fast money in trading. But even if you're a trader, whatever you are, I would always tell people to make sure, Deborah, that you have real estate in your portfolio. And again, real estate is not fast, right? But it is necessary for the long game. And I can tell you right now that I talk to investors all the time, Trina, that say, this is what I hear. This has been a recurring theme that I hear, which is why I'm really putting a focus on making sure that I talk to you about the multifamily world and why I want you to build a portfolio there, right? Okay, Trina said 50,000 she wants every month. Deborah wants 15,000 every month. Somebody else tell me, how much money do you want coming in every month? But this is one of the things that I hear over and over again from investors. They say, I had a bunch of real estate that I owned in 2008, 2009, 2012, 2015. Honest to God, I hear this quite a bit. And they say, I wish someone would have told me to hold on to my holds. When I say hold on to my holds, that means hold on to my properties that have tenants in them. Right? Because one thing about buy and holds, there are a couple things that I want you to take notes on tonight. First of all, with your buy and holds, you're going to have the ability to have rental monthly income coming in every single month. Now, what's important to understand about real estate is that you have to get the property low enough, because if you get the property and it is market value, you're not going to see profit for years and years, maybe 5, maybe 10 years. You have to get the property ideally off market, under market value. Okay. So I gave you an example of a 4-unit. And I was actually using a property that I got. I bought this 4-unit for $300. Well, really, I got it for, what's 315 minus 50? So right around 250, 255. But what I did is I had them add on the down payment, right? Because there was so much equity. I was able to not come to the table with any money down at all because it had so much equity in the deal. So please get your pen and paper. Come on, get your pen and paper, because we're going to do some deal evaluations. Okay. So get your pen and paper. So if I bought that property, I bought the property for $315,000 to be exact. I added on the original cost of that property was like $255. But what I did was I added on, I took the equity out of the property. Okay, because it appraised for, I want to say maybe $325. I ended up buying it for $315. The original price of the 4-unit was $255,000. Okay. Now, my down payment and closing costs on that was about 20%. So you got to figure whatever the cost of the property is, you are going to be paying about 20% for your down payment and closing costs. So I had them add on the $60,000, which took care of my down payment and closing costs, and made my total loan $315,000. Okay. All right. So my total loan was $315,000. My note on that guy is right at about $1,800 a month. All right. Now each unit is bringing in about $1,500 a month. Now, write this down, because this is going to be you, Trina. This is going to be you, Deborah. Okay. So if each of those units is bringing in $1,500 a month times 4, what is that? That's $6,000 a month. What did I tell you my note was? My note is about $1,800. Now that is inclusive of, actually, I pay my insurance separate. The insurance is pretty good. I don't know, maybe $200 a month. Okay. So, yeah. So let's just say I'm at $2,000 a month, but I bring in $6,000 a month. That's amazing. That's really good, right? So I have a net profit of about $4,000 every single month. Now the key is to take at least half of that and put it in I would put that like in a money market account. Okay. The other $2,000 I would probably take to buy some gold, silver, or some ETFs. I would invest that, because the key to building wealth is to multiply your money. That's the key. Everybody put in the comment, I got to multiply my money. I got to multiply my money. See, what the middle class does and the lower class, they take money and they spend it. The wealthy understand, I got to take my money and I got to multiply it. But here's the key about multiplying your money. It can't just happen one time. You have to get in a pattern of consistently multiplying the money. How am I going to take that money and grow it? Baby, did you get the text?
Yeah, do the next.
Okay, that's fine. So I have to get in the habit of multiplying my money, because that's the bottom line. Because if I just spend it to pay bills, as important as bills are, and I want you to have good integrity and pay your bills, don't get me wrong, but you have to get just as emphatic about paying yourself. How do you pay yourself? You pay yourself by investing. That's right, Netta. She put in the comments, I got to multiply my money. I got to multiply my money. I have to multiply my money. because wealth is skill. It's not luck. It's not just, certainly we want to pray that God give us the ability to get wealth, but God says you got to use the ability. You got to use the ability. You got to use strategy. It's about strategy. God, what do I do when I take this money? So if I have $4,000 net coming in from that 4 unit, I'm taking half of it, putting in a money market account. Why am I going to put it in a money market account? Because I want to get some kind of interest on it, but I also want to have liquidity. Liquidity is very important as an investor. Okay, I want everybody to put in the comments right now, liquidity. Liquidity is very, very important. You got to make sure you have liquidity. You got to be able to make sure you can get your hands on cash while you are waiting, because there is something called stabilization of the properties, getting the property stable. Okay. All right. So we understand that when you're investing in multifamilies, and when I say investing in multifamilies, Deborah, this could be a 2-family, a duplex. It could be a 3-unit. It could be a 4-unit. Yes. What is that? TNT. Hey, yes. TNT Wanzo, liquidity. That's right. Put liquidity in there. Okay. So that means that I want to stabilize the property. That means that I want all of the rehab that needs to be done. And then I want to hurry up and get a tenant in there so that I can cash flow. Okay. So the reason I want you to have a multifamily versus a single family. Now, here's the thing. You technically could, I know people, one of my mentors built her entire portfolio with like 160 single families. But I would never want to do that because that's a bunch of, okay, run over to there. Okay, run over there. Okay, run over there, run over there. With a multifamily, go there. You can literally have contractors assigned to one multifamily. So that 4-unit I was talking to you about, I literally have a contractor named Buzzy. Okay, that's Buzzy. Buzzy goes over there every single week, and every Wednesday he cleans the common area. He sweeps the steps, he mops the steps, the front and the back steps, and then he cuts the yard. He makes sure that there's no trash out. He talks to the tenants, make sure everything is good. If they have something going on, he can peek in there and take a look at it and see what all needs to be done. Okay. And so I pay Buzzy, maybe about $100 a week to make sure that property is well maintained. So that is helping me stabilize that property by making sure that the maintenance on it stays good, because that's what you got to do. You got to make sure that the maintenance on the property stays good, because this is going to keep your value of the property up. So it's not just about buying the multifamily. It's about, I want to make sure I maintain it. And the rental income is going to help you to take care of those expenses. But once that property is stabilized, it shouldn't cost much at all to keep it maintained. $100 a week, cut the grass if there's common area, clean the steps, make sure there's no trash on the property. Just a little tweak every now and again on all of your properties will make a huge difference. Okay. And definitely keeping the grass cut, the landscape clean. Those things are important because they add value to the property. And then they also set a standard for the tenants that, hey, they really care about this property. We have our grass cut. We don't have trash outside. These things are really important. Okay. All right. So as a multifamily, what you're going to do, again, you're looking for undervalue. You do not want to buy that multifamily on market. If it is on market, you want to make sure that it is greatly reduced, because the reduction of that property is going to be really, really important, because you want to make sure you go in with equity. Okay, put in the comments right now, I have to have equity. I have to have equity. Okay. Put that in there. I have to have equity. That's very important. You got to have equity. If you are not moving in with, if you cannot buy that property with equity, do not buy that property. That's period. End of the story. Okay. Okay. Bishop Johnny said, would an old hotel with rooms be worth it to turn into a multifamily? I'm going to probably say no. And let me tell you why. To convert it is probably going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to update all the electrical. You're going to have to update the plumbing. You're going to have to build kitchens in those hotel rooms, unless those hotel rooms already have kitchens. But depending on how old it is, it may not have a kitchen. So now you got to build kitchens and all of them. And then zoning, you have to check with the city to see, get them to rezone it, right? Which means that if they want rezoning, that means you're going to have to get an architect to draw out plans and then get a contractor to build it. It's going to be a lot of work. Let me tell you my favorite multifamily to buy. One that is already cash flowing. That's what you want to do. You want to buy every multifamily that I have ever bought, Netta, has already been cash flowing, has already been rehabbed, and has already been cash flowing. Now, I have bought properties that needed a little bit of update, right? It needed a little bit of update here or there. But for the most part, it was already cash flowing. Or let's just say like I have another one that's 6 units. When I bought it, we had 4 tenants already. It was just 2 that those units needed a little love, little quick paint job, update with some recessed lights, and then we got tenants in there. So now that 6 unit is completely 100% occupied. The goal to buy a multifamily is you want to get it cash flowing right away. If you buy a multifamily that is not cash flowing already and that it needs rehab, I think that is only for skilled investors because you have to move through that thing fast, because otherwise it'll just end up being a cash cow. It's just, you're just spinning because it's taking you so long to do it. I actually bought a duplex last year, maybe April. That project was supposed to take 4 months in rehab, but the contractor that was doing it, his team that he had fizzled. I'm not totally sure what happened with it, but it fizzled. So that project took 9 months. So I had 9 months of holding costs. Now, here's the thing. When I bought this project, when I bought this duplex, I was originally planning on fixing it up and flipping it and selling it. But the area that I bought it in was so good that as I started to think about it, talk to some other people about it, I said, the rental income over here is going to be amazing. I can actually get, $1,700 upstairs, $1,500 downstairs. That's what? That's $3,200 a month. My note on that is right at about $1,700. That's excellent. So I'm cash flowing $3,250 minus $1,700. I was like, I'm going to keep that. This is the other thing that I want you to think about when you're as a landlord. Your rent every single year is going to continue to go up. You can increase your rent literally by 2 to 5% every single month. Every single year, not month. Okay. Now, here's the beautiful thing about that, especially if you are taking care of the property. If you're keeping it up, if you're making sure the landscape is done, you're making sure that trash is not, growing, trash is just being thrown out. If you're taking care of that property, you can continue to increase the rent on that property. Okay. So now watch this. You bought it for one price, but after a year or two, you can refinance it, decrease, lower your interest rate, and pull cash out. Man, that is sweet. And that is exactly what I did. I took the property. That was another property that I had them add on. I bought the duplex for $90,000. The equity, down payment and equity closing costs was probably about $40,000, somewhere around there, $35,000. I took the equity that was in the property, so I didn't have to come to the table with any money at all. And I think I ended up getting like $10,000 back at the close. And then I started, working on fixing it. It cost me about $100,000 to fix it. But the value of that property, we got it appraised just a little bit. Remember, I bought it for 90, fixed it up for 100. And the ARV, the appraisal on that boy came back at about 290. So that was juicy equity, right? I was able to lower the rent. We got out of a flip loan. We moved into a DSCR loan, which is for holds. And so it reduced my note from like $2,400 to $1,700, but I'm collecting $3,250 every month. You follow what I'm saying? So there's always a way to win in real estate. Maybe you got to do it a little bit different than what you anticipated. I was anticipating flipping that, but then I thought about it because of the area. I said, I want to hold it. I thought about the rental income. I want to hold it. Here's the thing. I told you at the beginning of this live, one of the things that I've heard over and over again from different investors, they always say, Jewel, if I had to do it all over again, I wish I would have never sold those properties that I was holding. Now, here's the thing. If you're intending, Bishop Johnny, to buy it and flip it, that's fine. But in the back of your mind is, I want to hold this for rental income, don't change your mind, because that is your lifestyle. That's your lifestyle income, not even rental income. You can go straight to lifestyle. You can say, I started off collecting 1,000 a month and 5,000 as you accumulate these doors, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 coming in every month just from rental income. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I want everybody to have a focus of, even if you're flipping along the way, that's fine. But you really need to be thinking, how do I secure my lifestyle income passively? You do that by holding on to the properties. And because remember, what are you going to do? You're going to buy it off market. You do not buy a property at its current value. That's not a win for you. And this is what I see happen with a lot of investors. They'll say, I bought this, duplex in Carolinas for 100,000. I said, oh, what's the ARV? That's after repair value. What did it price for? 100,000. I'm like, that's not a good deal. Because your note is going to be, let's just say $1,000 a month, but then your rent is $900 a month. And maybe you can squeeze it to 100, but you're breaking even monthly. That doesn't make sense. There's no equity in the property. Doesn't make sense. You should have never been in it. So in that case, I would say sell it. Sell that property right away. Sell that. Sell it as fast as you possibly can, because there's no equity in it. So you don't have anywhere to go. And it's probably going to take you 5 or 10 years. And depending on what city you're in, you may always just, you know what I mean? It just depends. So you got to make sure you buy a property that will be worth, if the appraisal came out, they say 200,000, but you spend 70,000. Now that's a good deal. But you have to be very strategic, and you got to hurry up and get in there and get to work, because depending on the season that you are investing in, a city like Detroit gets super cold. So whatever you're going to do, you better do before the winter months hit, because the winter months will slow down a rehab. They just will. This past winter was very hard all over the nation, really. But you had really, really cold, temperatures. You had cold temperatures. You had blizzard. You had ice. You had all those things. So you have to really, 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 make sure that you account for what season am I in? How long am I going to be in this property? Let me hurry up and get out of this property. So literally I have 2 flips right now that, yay, thank you, Lord. They're selling. I'm literally closing on both of them. One will be in about 3 weeks and the other one will be next week. They're flips, but I was strategic about that. Now, would I go into a flip right now? It would have to be really juicy. But what I would go into right now is a good cash flowing multifamily that's already producing. Because remember, your multifamilies are how you're going to build real wealth. That's how you're going to get your rental income. So what are some of the benefits of buying a multifamily? First of all, rental income. Second of all, price appreciation, because the price is going to keep going up. Remember, you can raise rent every single month. You now have equity, so you can pull cash out if you want to. It's going to reduce your tax liability greatly. You literally, as a real estate investor, you should have really 0 to no taxes, because you've got depreciation, you've got expenses. At the time you get done with all of that, you really should have very, 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 very little tax liability. Okay. And so that's important to know that. All right. Now, the thing with the rental income, what you want to do is you want to secure a good property manager, or you might want to manage the property yourself. So I don't manage the property 1,000% myself. I have a property manager that helps me to find good tenants, Section 8, VA, or cash. And most of the time they want first month rent. Okay. When they find that for you. And then I have my chief operating officer. She set up an app. Thanks, Trina. She set up an app. And on the app, the tenants can go on there and they can pay for their rent. or if they have, repairs that need to be done or whatever, they put that on there. Okay. They put that on there. All right. Now, so for the most part, if I need something to be done at one of the properties, when I get the text message comes to my phone, then my contractor also gets a text message to his phone. So today we got somebody saying that their electricity wasn't working. Okay, so I'm going to have an electrician. The electrician got the text as well, is going to go out there and check their electricity. Okay, so it's really not a lot. Like once you get your property stabilized, it's really not a lot to do. Right. Once they're stabilized, the biggest work is when they first move in, they're getting acclimated, and or if there's rehab that needs to be done. But if they're acclimated and the rehab is done, you probably are not going to hear from them. There are some tenants, most of my tenants, I don't hear from. They get on the portal, they pay their rent, and that's it. And so I just talk to my maintenance guys just to make sure they're going over there every week to do what they're supposed to do in terms of cutting the grass and things like that. Okay, so this is how you build that. So now it's stress-free, but now you got that rental income coming in every single month. The other thing I want to tell you where property management is concerned is you want to get a good relationship with the agencies. Get a good relationship with the agencies. Get a good relationship, with that agency because they're going to be the one to pay your bills. And you got to stay on top of it. Okay. I had one tenant who just moved in about a month and a half, 2 months ago. We were glad to have her because I don't like empty units. I like for them to get filled fast. And so she moved in and the housing agency said, well, we're going to pay for her rent and her social security. Her security deposit. And it's been a month and a half. And I had to just stay on them. Now the payment is coming. I'll have it tomorrow or the next day or whatever. But I had to really stay on them. So when you start talking about how much work is this, having a real estate empire? Well, honestly, the most work is going to be in the beginning. The most work are with your flips. That's where there's a lot of work because there needs to be contractual activity going on every day because every day a flip is sitting, it's not good. You got moisture, you got mold, you got the weather, you got, you're susceptible to somebody coming in there. So you want to hurry up and get and push to the finish line with those contractors on the flip. Now, on the flip side, if you got a hold, it's not going to be that much work. Once those tenants are good, they have everything they need, you really are not going to have that much work, right? Every blue moon, they may call you about a repair, but really it's just about you, making sure that they know that they can get a hold of you, but there's really not going to be that much work. Okay. And that's where I want all of you. I want you to have a significant amount of rental income coming in every single month that is like clockwork. It is just like clockwork. It is not a lot of work. You're stabilizing the property. Life is good. Okay. So I want to just kind of review. Why do you want multifamilies? You want one that's already cash flowing so you can come straight to cash. And you want one so that all the work needs to just be done on that one location opposed to running your contractors ragged here, there, everywhere. Okay, that's that. And then remember, it's going to greatly reduce your tax liability. Okay, that's a really, 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 really big deal. And then, of course, that monthly income is going to start coming in every single month and setting you up for a big win. Okay. All right. So listen, this is what we're going to do. As you can see right here, sevenfigureinvestor.com. We're actually going to look at some property in about 20 minutes on the dot. We're going to look at some property at 20 minutes on the dot. If you're interested in a hold, a single family hold, multifamily hold, when you're just getting started as an investor, they're not going to approve you for a multifamily hold. You are going to have to start off with either a 1 or a 2. But more than likely, they don't like to approve brand new investors. So you have to start off with 1 or 2. I right now have a few single families in my portfolio. I just keep them for leverage. I got good equity in them and, it works. But honestly, you really, really, really want to maybe start off with 1 or 2, but then we're going to move you over to multifamilies. So if you're interested and you want to see some inventory, we're going to go over in detail the numbers. We're going to go in detail location and see if this is really a good deal for you or not. Okay. And so you can get on 7figureinvestor.com, or you can write the ID number down. In 20 minutes, we will be on there. Okay. And then, of course, if you want to join the community, we're doing some amazing things. We have mentorship programs that help you from beginning to end on buying and flipping, and then also buying and holding. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it is a skill. I always tell people investing in real estate is not easy, but it's possible, it's doable, and it's very fulfilling, and it's very profitable. But there are things that come up that you're going to have to deal with. There are challenges that come up that you're going to have to deal with. But I always tell people, for every challenge, there is a complete answer. For every challenge, there's an answer. It's just a matter of getting in the room with the right people to get those answers, right? And not talk problem, but talk answers. So thanks so much for jumping on here tonight. I really wanted to come on here because, man, I'm like, man, it's the second half of 2026. So I really want you guys set up to make some really smart decisions so that you can go into 2027, Kiana, and say, I actually own a few properties. I have, 3,000 in rent coming, 5,000 in rent coming, 10,000 in rent coming. I have consistent rent coming every single month. And I want to continue to grow that. That feels good. It makes me feel confident, makes me feel secure. I want to continue to grow that. And if that's you, I want you to get on 7figureinvestor.com, and then we'll get into details about how we can help to support you and help you. Also, my business partners will be on the call with me in 15 minutes as well. So we got a great tight-knit crew that's having a lot of success, and we're helping a lot of people as we're helping to build our own financial empires as well. All right. So everybody, thanks for getting on. I will meet you at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 7figureinvestor.com. All right. I'll see you guys there. Bye-bye.